right. Welcome to the group, guys. My name is Shelby, and I am your group leader today. Um, Today, we're going to go over self care and why it's important, and we're going to kind of figure out what we should do, to better our self care. Because I know a lot of times we have a hard time taking care of ourselves. We're good at taking care of others, but not always great at taking care of ourselves. So, first, we're going to go over the group roles. I'm going to go over some of the ones that we will have set in place. And then if you have any other rules that you would like to put in place, this is your group. So I want you to feel free to say if you have other like rules that you would like to put. So the first rule would be confidentiality. Whatever is said in this group shouldn't leave this group. That's just to protect yourselves and protect others, and just to make everybody feel more comfortable whenever they are sharing. And so, just make sure that whatever's said in here, that you're not sharing it with other people. You can talk about your own experiences, but if someone else says something, please don't share what they said in the group. The second thing that I would ask is that everyone silences their phones at the very beginning. So if you want to do that now, you can do that now. All right, and that's just to make sure that we aren't being interrupted and that we can really be present in this. And then our third rule is just to respect each other. And we're all at different levels and different places in our lives. And so, maybe someone's facing something that you might not quite understand, but respect that they're going through that and you're going through something different. So I just ask that you respect others. And the fourth rule being attend all sessions. And so if there's for some reason you're sick or something happens and you're not allowed or you can't attend, please contact me as soon as possible so that I can kind of prepare the group in knowing that you're not going to be able to attend. But in order to get the most out of this, I'd ask that you just try to attend every session. And the last goal I have is show up on time, because everyone is coming here as a group, and they're taking this time out of their lives to do this. And so I just ask that everybody respect each other's time. So, if you wouldn't mind to please show up on time. Are there any other group rules that you would like to put in place? If not, that's okay. This is your group, so I want to make sure that we're including what you feel.
When we're sharing, will we be like, if someone's sharing, do we ask them questions? Do we interact that way, or is it okay?
Yeah, you can definitely interact with others. Please, that's what the group session's about. It's talking to each other, getting to know each other, but ultimately we're all working on the same thing. We're working on self-care. So I want you to kind of feed off of each other. That's the best thing. So please feel free to share, and if someone says something, please feel free to, respond to that. But does anybody else have any like group rules that they would like to put in place? Okay, all right. So no one has any group rules. All right. So like I said, I kind of explained a little bit. But what we're going to do today, since this is kind of the opening and we're all kind of new, we're going to take a self-care assessment, and we're going to, at the end of that, we're going to kind of look at our results. But the reason why we're going to do this is because we're going to see like what parts of our lives that we could really improve in. Because I feel like we all have different parts of our lives that are, we're not doing as much as we can to feed ourselves in those areas. And so I just think it's important that we take this so we can kind of see where we're all at. And we're all going to be probably in different places. And so we're going to do that. Does anyone know like why self-care is important?
Like, don't we live in a time where it's so busy and so many hectic things are going on that it's really easy to care for others and not think about yourself a lot. So,
Yeah.
is there pretty much, it seems like a lot of people aren't caring for themselves, and I'm guilty, really guilty of that. So, caring for others and not taking too good care of myself sometimes.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's we often try to help everyone else, and then we have this cup that has a hole in it, and it's just pouring out, but we're still trying to give people water. We're trying to give people water out of this cup, and so our cup just keeps getting emptier and emptier and emptier. So we're never able to fully help someone whenever our cup has a hole in it. And so with self-care, we put a patch over that hole, and we're able to actually start filling our cup up. And then whenever we're giving to other people, our cup is still getting filled while we're giving to other people. And so that's why it's so important that we do help others, but help ourselves too, and put ourselves first. It's a lot like I know whenever you're in a plane, they always tell you to put the oxygen on yourself first before you put it on the other person. It's that exact same thing. You have to take care of yourself so that you can take care of other people, especially if you are a caregiver.
Right.
And so that's really the importance of it.
Sometimes people, I know sometimes I feel guilty about caring for myself. You know what I mean? Like taking the time to do that. Is that common or?
Yeah. Especially if you're a caregiver, it's hard to give yourself that time because you're always feeling like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you're always feeling like I have all these people I need to care for. I'll put myself last so I can care for them.
Right.
And so it's very easy for us to feel guilty for taking care of ourselves, but that's where we have to do better, and I have to do better at that as well. And so that's something that I hope to work on with you guys as well, even with myself, is looking at what I need to do to better myself as well.
Sure.
So let's go ahead. I'm going to hand out this activity, and I'll explain the rules, but if you wouldn't mind to hand that down. And I'm actually going to do this with you, and I will explain the rules, and then we will kind of go from there. All right, so this is a self-care assessment. When you look at it, you'll see that if you rate something a 1, that means that you do this poorly, or you do this rarely, or not at all. 2 is I do this okay, or I do this sometimes. 3 is I do this well, or I do this often. What I ask is that you go through each section, and there's 5 sections, and so if you wouldn't mind to go through each section and put how you do in each of these categories, and then at the end I'll kind of give further instruction. But for now, let's go through and do that. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, just one. What if, like, on one of I see where it has the star, I would like to improve at this, or I'd like to do it more frequently. What if, like, do we check that as well as one of the boxes, or only that?
You're going to want to put in 1, 2, or 3 for sure. The star is just kind of like for yourself to know, like, hey, I would like to work on this specifically.
Gotcha.
But you definitely want to rate it with the numbers, because at the end, what we're going to do is we'll add these numbers together, and then we'll pick, like, we'll see which one we're kind of the lowest in, and we'll work on that. So if everyone wouldn't mind, does anybody have any other questions before we start?
I think good.
All right, so you can go ahead and start, and let me know if you have any questions through it. I'm going to do one with you as well.
We continue on through the whole.
Yeah, I do
correct?
every section. Yes.
Oh wow. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Feel you.
I'm sorry, quick question. Did you say we're gonna score these at the end?
Yeah.
So this is like overall is what we're thinking, right? We're not like counting those up.
Yeah, you'll still go ahead and put like if you think
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
yeah
Right,
what you
okay.
think it
Alright,
is, but
thank you.
then we'll score it still with that number in it.
Got it.
Yeah. So what I was, take your time, please take your time. I was just explaining to Chance, he was asking, how to score it, and I was letting him know that once you're done, you'll just take every number and you'll just add all of those together for each section. So
Each
the
section. Okay.
yeah, and then you'll put beside that section what the score is. And then whenever you're done with all that, you can just let me know.
So we're just literally adding up, you said, and then putting that beside.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
For
Okay.
each section, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So if you had a 3 and 1, and then the next one is 2, then you'd
Be
keep
fine.
adding those.
So we have to be able to add.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you need help, I can help you.
I was poor asking for help. No, I'm just kidding.
And then when you're done, if you wouldn't mind just sit your pen down so I kind of know who's done.
And away from
Okay.
the field.
Are you finished? Okay. Is everybody done? Okay, great. So first question I have is, what is your, let's go around the table and, tell me what your highest, let's go around the table and then tell me what your highest one is. And we'll talk about that, and then next we will talk about what's the lowest. But let's first start with what we are good at. Who would like to start?
I'll start.
Okay.
I had the equally high numbers in psychological and emotional self-care, so that first section, and spiritual self-care.
All right,
So I had
great.
23s there.
Gotcha. Awesome. And he said that his highest is, he got a 25 in what? I'm sorry.
Spiritual.
In spiritual. Okay, so Chance's highest is in the spiritual self-care. Okay, awesome. And what about yours?
Let's see if I miscounted here. Hold on a second.
That's okay. We'll move on to Jeremy and then we'll come back to you, okay?
I have a weird situation where, like, I have 3 that are pretty much tied for highest, and the other 2 are pretty much tied for lowest. So.
Well, share your highest
the
first.
The 2 highest that tied at 25 is professional and social.
Awesome. Well, my highest is in the social self-care, and professional self-care is second. Have you figured out your highest one?
Well, I think that I'm tied for the emotional self-care is 28 and social self-care is 28.
All right, great. Okay.
Unless I miscounted.
So those are the areas that we're doing good in. We can always grow in every area. All right. So, these are the areas that are the highest for us. These are the places that we are doing good in, and we can always grow, but we can see where we are doing good and not needing to work as hard on right now. So, now let's look at our lowest. If you want to start again, we'll start with you.
My lowest was physical self-care.
Okay. And okay, so we'll move on, and then I'm gonna kind of go back. We'll go back, and everybody will kind of share a little more. But so your lowest is the physical self-care.
Mhm.
What is your lowest? Okay, so his lowest is the social self-care. And then what about yours?
Mine was professional self-care.
Professional self-care. And what about yours?
Psychological / emotional.
Okay, awesome. So these are the areas that we need to work more in. It's a little harder for us, but like I said, we all have places that we need to work in, and other places that are good for now, but still need time to work on that. All right, so now I just kind of want to go around and let's talk about, look at your lowest one. My lowest was physical self-care. I didn't share that, but what is something that you think that you can do to practice self-care in these areas? So let's brainstorm some ways that we can practice that, and then whenever you kind of have thought of something that you might be able to do in that area, just let me know, and and we'll start with whoever is feeling that they have that area they would like to share.
So are you asking like like this area was my lowest, so
Mhm.
physical self-care, ideas that I can improve in? Is that what's?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, no. I was just making sure I understood.
Yeah, so what I'm asking is that now we look at our lowest. So for me, it's the physical self-care. So what is something that I can do to better myself in this area of my life? What's something that I can practice to grow in that area? And so just an example for myself, one way that I could practice self-care is by exercising more. And so maybe so exercising more would be what I can do. So what I would say for my goal would be is to work on exercising 3 days a week would be my goal. So
specific plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, I will just write down exercise more is what I want to do. And my goal is to exercise 3 days a week. So yeah, we'll go around and everybody kind of share what's something that you think that you would like to work on over our group sessions and in your own time, and then what is the goal that you can set to make that happen.
On mine, physical health care, like my lowest thing was getting enough sleep, but I think like as I get older, I never know how much sleep I need because I'm not a long sleeping guy, right? But I think as I get older, I'm needing more, but it's just harder to get into that routine of getting enough sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know how to. I guess I don't know how to plan.
How to set a goal for
Yeah.
that.
How do I set a goal for that?
So
maybe someone else has an idea too. But.
Yeah. So one thing that I would suggest, and maybe you guys have other ideas that we can help him with, is setting a routine. Going and laying down at an earlier time. Doing things like that can kind of get you prepared for bed, not right before bed, maybe even 30 minutes before turning off your phone, or not looking at your phone before you're going to sleep. That's something that could be helpful in getting you kind of set in that. So maybe those are your first steps.
Gotcha.
And then maybe we can build on that over the next few weeks.
I think when we're kids, we have someone tells us, go to bed at this time. And when we become adults, there's no one like telling you to go to bed at a certain time. But some of us, like myself, still need that to some extent. So maybe have some accountability there where someone, you let someone know what time you need to get to bed every night, and have them be like an accountability partner and be like, Darren, you said you were going to go to bed at this time. I'm telling you to go to bed.
Right.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
So having accountability.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. So now I'm gonna ask you, Chance, what is something that you can do to practice self-care in that section that is the lowest for you? So his lowest is social self-care. Many times I don't like to meet new people, but I can work on asking for help. I don't like to ask for help at all. I never like to ask for help, but I know sometimes, I know I truly need to ask for help, and I need to learn how to help. That's a good answer. what is something that you, or how can you do that? What is one thing this week that you can do to practice that? Maybe if I go to work or something, I know I truly need help, I will ask the other workers to help me. My workers are very nice, so they'll be happy to help me. I'll try that. Okay, that's a good answer. Okay, so that's something that this week you can work on, and then this week you can work on, putting those habits into place, and then hopefully that'll work itself out, and you'll start to be able to sleep better. What about you? What is something that you could do to practice self-care?
My lowest was the professional, but I don't per se have a paid job, but just in doing work in ministry, sometimes if I'm doing stuff or meeting people, sometimes I have a hard time, like it says talk in relationships and building, like with colleagues, so like people, like we meet a lot of times, I have a hard time with that. So working on talking to people more and being more relational with people that we're working with, whether in the ministries that we do. The other thing I was just looking at too, just even like if I am doing something, I have a hard time taking a break from it. I just keep on and not take a break, and so. But I think my focus would be to maybe be more intentional about talking to people and being more relational with them and talking to them. And
yeah, that's a good goal. So, what is something that you can do to put that into place this week?
Well, we do ministry in another town and some other areas and stuff. So when I go to those this week, that I can be more intentional about talking to the people that we're interacting with.
Gotcha. That's great. Yeah, that's a really good goal. And I think that by doing that, it'll be a little awkward and uncomfortable initially. But I really believe that you'll be able to, the more that you do it, the better you'll become at making those conversations. So what about you? What is something that you can do to practice self-care in your area?
Looking at my scores of psychological / emotional self-care, something that could improve my score would be like getting a healthy hobby. I'm thinking practicing my guitar like 2 to 3 times a week.
That's a great goal.
Yeah.
Awesome. So weekly practicing your guitar, and what do you think that'll do for you?
Well, it'll up my score for participating in hobbies, and it'll help me express my feelings in a healthy way, and learning new things unrelated to work or school. There's a few different things that'll help with that I see on here.
Gotcha. Well, that's great. So sounds like we have a lot of good goals in place, and so I do ask that we put those in practice. So today we kind of went over where we are doing great and where we're lacking a little bit in our self-care. And so hopefully this upcoming week you will put into play what you've talked about tonight. And so putting those routines in for you for sleeping, and for Chance putting asking for help this week whenever he needs help, and then with Paula, making conversation even though it is difficult this upcoming week, and then practicing your guitar, and then for myself just making a point to exercise more, and I think that those are all really great goals, and I think that we'll be able to really overcome and do well, and so we are coming to a close. Does anybody have any questions?
Are we gonna be doing this again and see like how we have improved, like in the coming weeks?
Yeah. So this will be a 8-week session or 8-week group. So for the next 8 weeks, we will come back and we'll kind of discuss what we've learned through the week. You know, where our successes, our barriers, things that, you know, we really did great, and things that maybe we didn't do so great. We'll kind of get to know each other more. And so we'll meet at the same time, same day next week. And yeah, this will be a weekly thing until those 8 weeks, and that's what it'll be. But hopefully by the end of this, we'll be able to really practice those self-care things, and the other places that were low, hopefully we can kind of dive into those as well and start to learn how to work in those areas as well. Any other questions?
Do you find that, like, the ones we're high in, how can those, maybe it's habits or something, but it's a big question, but how can those that we're really strong in help in the areas that we're weaker in? Do those cross over? Are there habits that we can look at and go, man, you know, in this area, in spiritual self-care, I'm really on top of this and this and this. How can that help me with physical self-care?
You know, I'm not 100% sure if it crosses, but I do know that it can kind of give you some encouragement in knowing that you're not low in every single category. And having, you know, knowing like, hey, I'm doing well here, I'm doing well here, I'm doing well here, and I just need a little improvement in this little area.
Gotcha.
I think, you know, in this, I just wanted you to see that it is very much a, like, you can see, hey, this is where I'm doing good, this is where I'm not doing as great. But as for the correlation, I'm not 100% sure, and I don't want to tell you otherwise. Is there like anything that you would have liked to see differently tonight, or is there anything that you gained from this experience that you'd like to share?
I'm not sure if there's a better way to do it, but I feel like taking this assessment, I'm just naturally going to be harder on myself in some areas than others. So it's like, to some extent, I feel like there's bias there, but I don't know if there'd be any other like better way to do it, you know?
Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I just wonder, as we meet together and we get to know each other and stuff, sometimes maybe I can see something in you that you're not seeing in yourself, or that you're harder on yourself. And so as we get to know each other more, maybe that's, you know, say, you know, you're really hard on yourself here, but maybe I'm seeing, hey, you know, you're really doing well there. You know what I mean? So maybe that the group helps with the bias.
For sure,
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions, any comments, anything before we end? All right, no questions. Anybody else? All right, well, thank you guys so much for coming to session tonight. I look forward to getting to know you guys more and going deeper into self-care and why it's so important, and the steps we can take. But I look forward to seeing you all next week. So thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.